Welcome home to St. Anne's.
Wow, I haven't said that in a really long time. Do I need to go up? Get louder? Okay.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to
welcome
meet
back. I am so excited. Like, you have no idea. I shouldn't be this happy during Lent. But I am. I'm so very, very excited. It has been so long since we've been together. In fact, we haven't been together in 2021. So I'm so excited that we are back together, be it online if you're joining us online, or being here in person where we can be together physically too. And as I was getting ready for this service, I realized how potent this is for Lent. Because I think sometimes we think that Lent is really depressing. It's really dirgy. And a joke on what I just said, we shouldn't be happy during Lent, right? There's nothing to be happy about. It's Lent. You got to be serious, and you got to be mad, and you got to hate yourself. But the reality is that's not what it is. We are walking the way of the cross towards Christ's crucifixion. Yes, that is true. In that, there is deep sadness and deep realization of our own sinfulness and our own unworthiness to come face to face with the risen Christ. Yes, that is true. There's also the glory of the cross. There's the glory of a resurrected Christ, a glory of a God who loves us so much that he's willing to walk this path with us. That is joyful and wonderful and glorious. And I want us to bring those two things together today because I think it's really, really important. There is joy in what is coming. There is hurt and sadness in what is coming. And I'm sorry, isn't that the very Christian life? And so as I was getting ready, we were planning this service for this morning, and I kept looking at the weather, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. I was so excited, and I will tell you, it was the first time I felt this level of excitement in the last year. There is hope. We have a vaccine. How many people have gotten their first vaccine? How many people have gotten their second vaccine? Woo! There is hope. Who is excited that we are back together physically again, some of us? And I realize that may not be for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay, because we have learned other things during this time together. We have learned that there are all sorts of different ways of worshiping and being together, and that is a good thing. So there is joy, there is hope, and that is what Lent really truly is. It's the reality of the human life, that there is hardship, and there is difficulty, and there is sadness, and there is grief, and there is loss, and there is pain, and there is hope, and there is glory, and there is resurrection, and wonder, and joy. And all of that is intertwined all the time. So yes, this is the first time that I've really, truly seen an end to what is coming. This is the first time I've probably really, truly felt joy in the last year. Because, to be honest, leading this parish, I was convinced I never really had it right. I didn't know what I was doing. There was no insight. All there was in my mind was like, I can't do anything that would risk us as people. We have to do everything possible to make sure that we are worshiping together in glory of God, and everything that we possibly can do to care for one another. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing at any point, because whatever it was seemed wrong. And you want to know what? That's okay. That is okay, because that is the human condition. We constantly go through life not knowing what our end goal really, truly is. That's life. That's Lent. That's the Christian journey. And that's what I want us to understand today, because I understand there's been so much pain and grief and loss and so much unknown and so much loneliness. And that is Lent. So much of what we've had to do is come face to face with who we truly are, what we fear the most, and all of that. We've done that. We've had to do that. And I'm not telling you it's golden from here on out. It isn't. There will continue to be loss and pain and grief and loneliness. There will be. There will continue to be moments where we don't know what we're doing. But we hold those two things always in our mind. How do we worship God wholly and completely? How do we care for and love one another? And if we do those two things, we are ready to see a resurrected Christ on Easter morning. The rest of it, we'll figure it out. And so I offer you today just a break. Take a deep breath. Feel the sunshine. Look at each other. I know a few of you have Girl Scout cookies. Take a moment to take a breath, because there is joy and wonder. There is a cross, yes. There's also a resurrected Christ. Whatever our pain is, there will be more. There will be moments when we trip over it, because that's Lent. That's life. That's the human condition. But there's also joy and wonder in us being together and worshiping Christ, however that is. And sometimes that means that we've got to come face to face with some of the things. And so, believe it or not, I am going to get to the actual gospel. I've just been so excited by sunlight and seeing you all that it took me a while to get there. But remember what the temple really truly is. And this is really important for this gospel. When they really truly realized that the temple is not the brick and mortar that it took years and generations to build. It was the body of Christ. The body of Christ. And what you and I know is that you and I, upon the death and resurrection of Christ, we become the body of Christ. It is not about buildings. It is not about brick and mortar. It is about us together, worshiping together, being the body of Christ out in the world. And you want to know what? Sometimes that's easy to forget. And sometimes it's easy to let that temple get cluttered up by all sorts of stuff. Because here's a little history lesson. Here's what's actually going on in this story. So at that time, you couldn't use dirty secular money to buy your sacrifices. You had to use good, clean, religious money, right? But what do you have? What do you get paid with day to day? You get dirty secular money, right? So there are people whose job it is to change your dirty secular money into holy money for you, so that you can buy whatever animal it is that your priest is going to slaughter up on the altar. Aren't we all glad that we don't do that anymore? Heck no. I will not be slaughtering any y'all's animals. Not happening. Certainly not burning them after I do it. Okay, but that's what you have to do. And Jesus realizes that this has become its own thing, right? There's its own thing that is distracting from what the actual worship of God was really about. We've become obsessed with all this other stuff. Now, how many, is it just me, how many of us have our lives get cluttered up with stuff that becomes its own, consuming the tail that wags the dog? Not just me? Okay, that's slightly comforting. So how many of us need Jesus to come in every once in a while and turn over a few tables? Me. Every once in a while I need God to come into my life and be like, Meg, stop it. This is not what this is all about. You've pinned all of this effort and all of this worry onto these things, and now you're distracted, and now the tail is wagging the dog. I love that saying, can't you tell? But what this is really about is this stuff over here. The temple is not the brick and the mortar. The temple is the body of Christ. So this Lent, this moment, I ask you to take that deep breath. Take that moment of joy, of wonder, of knowing that, yes, the pain of the cross is here and coming, but so is the joy and wonder of a resurrected Christ. Take that moment to brush out all that stuff that has you distracted and cluttered and messy. The stuff that's distracting you from the cross, from the real temple. Because here's the thing. You and I are the temple. That's it. Not that. And I realize we haven't been in that for a year. But have we been Christ in the world in the last year? Absolutely. Have we been God's church in the last year? Absolutely. Know this, I am so excited to be back in that building worshiping with you. But it will not give me nearly the joy of this morning of being with you in person in God's creation. It won't. It just cannot. Because that's the reality. The temple is this. You online, us together. That is the temple. So this Sunday, I ask you, take a moment. Declutter. Get those dust bunnies and all that stuff, all that money changer, all those birds and all that stuff you got cluttering up your stuff. Let it go. Let it go. And if you really, really
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
I will give you a hug today. I am safe.